Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the Raw Show podcast. Today, I'm joined with a very special guest. He's none other than Maarten. He's one of the directors of Cheche Crisps, a brand I'm a big fan of, a product I'm a big customer of, and I can't wait to learn from Maarten, know about his story, and share the story with you guys as well. Karibu sana, Maarten.
Thank you for inviting me, Rashid.
Sunday, thank you so much for making the time. I've been looking forward to this day for multiple reasons, and one of the biggest one is I've been super inspired by the journey that Cheche has taken. You guys, off the bat, have done really well. Um, might I add congratulations to you and Peter as well, who's your the other director, and part of the team as well. So karibu sana, Maarten, and it's a pleasure hosting you.
Thanks very much.
So Maarten, well, if you're okay with it, we'll just jump right into it. Or maybe you can share with us Maarten's journey. Who Maarten is, where you come from, and how you ended up in Tanzania.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm really enthusiastic to be here. It's my first podcast, so I feel like we're going to share a lot of knowledge.
100%.
So I'm from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Very cold city if you compare it with Dar es Salaam. More similar to Arusha, I would say. So originally I'm an engineer. And I started working as digital strategy consultant. I worked mainly for companies like Heineken, which is the beer industry, for JDE selling coffee, and also McCormick selling seasoning and spices. So I would say the food industry is not my specialty, but somehow I entered this industry. And my main domain where I was focused on was sales. So I was doing digital strategies to make companies grow in data. So it's not a traditional style. I can tell you later a little bit how we do it at Cheche.
Wow. So how did you end up with Cheche then?
Company is founded 2 years ago now, 2.5 years. And the plans were already there for, let's say, 4 years. It was not my idea to open the company, but it was the main investor that we have. So they invest in sub-Saharan countries, mainly potatoes, fish, and dairy. So they have a couple of companies in Eastern Africa, mainly. One of them, Mapinga Premium Foods, the company owning Cheche. So I was actually recruited. I was looking for an adventure in a country outside of Europe, and all of a sudden I found this, and it was a direct match.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to Tanzania. How are you finding Tanzania so far?
So I do love the climate until now. So I know now it's getting more hot, and I think now it's also getting, I would say,
It's already more hot. It's going to get very hot.
yeah, it's really hot.
Yeah.
But so far it always feels like summer. The people are nice. It's a really outside life.
Yeah.
I like that the country is really being built. So you see a lot of companies popping up, a lot of governmental initiatives popping up, and you feel the energy. And I really like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one of the reasons why you guys chose Tanzania? You feel like maybe startups are easier to start here in Tanzania compared to like abroad?
The pre-research was done by the investment team.
Yeah.
Of course, Tanzania is a safe country. It's growing. The economy is booming. Companies opening up, foreign investments coming in with a lot of other African countries. That's really special. And I think that's also the reason why Tanzania was picked as one of the countries. And of course, it's not the only country where it's now booming. I feel the entire, at least East Africa, because those are the countries that I see frequently.
Yeah.
It's now booming and it's growing, and the population is growing. People are more educated.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Every other podcast I listen to, every other business news is talking about how Africa is the next.
Yeah.
So really interesting. So you mentioned Mapinga Premium Foods, and then you said Cheche Crisps. Yep. So is that the same company or they do different things?
You can say that Mapinga Premium Foods is the company name and Cheche is the product. Like you would have with a lot of international companies in the FMCG sector, having multiple brands. I think the reason for it was because we opened up a factory in Mapinga.
Yeah.
Mapinga is a small village, or it's actually a neighborhood in Dar es Salaam, just outside of the border of Dar es Salaam, but it's being eaten by the city. And the name of Cheche was not known back then. So it was first Mapinga Premium Foods, and then later we found the name Cheche.
Well, because you mentioned the name, can I ask how you guys decided on the name Cheche?
Yeah, very, very good question. So my Swahili, when I arrived, my Swahili was non-existent, and I'm still practicing Swahili. I can understand a bit of words and conversations.
Tukiendelea na Kiswahili hapo utaweza
Kidogo.
kidogo sana. Yeah.
So we had a couple of names, and of course we knew what the brand should stand for.
Yeah.
And we wanted something vibrant,
Yeah.
something sparkling, something energetic, celebrations, sharing. And then a couple of names came up, and one of them was Cheche. I think you know the translation better than I do. It's spark or fireworks. So it's like you feel the energy. It's an explosion of flavors and an explosion of crispiness. And that's what we want to achieve in every package. Not easy, but I think we're getting there. We just added 3 more flavors. And I hope at least that everybody feels this explosion when they eat a pack.
I just had a pack and it was very explosive. It was very explosive. Nice. So it's nice.
Pili pili or not?
The pili pili tamu, yeah.
That's too spicy.
Yeah, I love that. And then sometimes I dip it in a Rosho cashew butter, the white chocolate one.
Yeah, it's a special combination, but it's good.
I love it. Yeah. I feel like I pretend it's healthier. Maybe I don't know, but it's a nice combination. You mentioned it's very interesting, the name, yeah. And I think it speaks a lot to the marketing that you guys have done. It's very localized, and I think that is why you guys have done so well in the market. Compared to any foreign brands. First of all, I'm part of this journey as well, but I'm also appreciating how there's many local brands coming up in Tanzania, and how sometimes local brands shy away from being local. Yeah. Whereas you guys capitalized heavily on being as relevant locally as possible, but you took it at a different scale. Do you think, did you have that conversation? Did you think, let's try to make it sound like it's from abroad, it's from outside Tanzania? Or you said, no, let's go to Tanzania, let's do it big in Tanzania, but let's make it Tanzania? Was it ever like a discussion internally?
No, it's an interesting question. Of course, we really aim to have international standard quality.
Yeah.
The best of the best. And we all know the main brands in the world. And that quality we want to beat.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, the potatoes are from Tanzania. They're grown by Tanzanian farmers in Iringa, Mbeya, and Arusha.
Yeah.
So it's also emphasizing the localness of the company and of the product. And I think that's also reflecting in the marketing strategy that we have.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I did the marketing together with my girlfriend, and we tried our best.
Yeah.
But you could see the engagement was not that good.
For Cheche, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
thought
in
it
the
was...
very beginning, like the first few, let's say, months.
Okay.
So then the first thing that we did was hire Tanzanian colleagues specialized in marketing. So that was a good move, because now our colleagues in the marketing team, they really understand what's cool and what's not cool, how to position as a premium brand, but still be approachable for the mass market.
Yeah.
And I think that's done in a funny way. So in every video clip or reel that we post on social channels, we want to emphasize something funny.
Yeah.
And as you could have seen, probably beginning, we started really bombastic with a very famous Tanzanian influencer.
Yeah.
We had billboards, we had radio. Eventually, I can say that that was quite nice, but that's also quite nice for big companies. We were a small company.
Yeah.
So now we chose more of a localized micro-influencers.
Oh.
They're very creative.
Yeah.
Also very eager to get their first jobs. Right? Yeah. So maybe they have 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers.
Yeah.
But they run the extra mile. And this is what we now leverage. We have a pool of micro-influencers.
Yeah.
And they create the content sometimes even better than we can predict.
Yeah.
Or that we ask from them.
Yeah.
So that's mainly the approach that we have.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned. This is not the first I'm hearing. Apparently, many big companies are realizing instead of signing one huge influencer, I mean, I'm sure there is benefits to that. They are realizing that there is more benefits to using that budget or even half of that and employ like 20, 30 micro influencers who are still connected to the audience. It could be 5,000 or 20,000, but they are intimately connected. When you grow your page as an influencer from 5,000 to 20,000, those followers follow you because of your work. It's not because of like some boosted post or something.
Yeah.
And apparently that has more value. I mean, there's pros and cons, but you mentioning something like that really hits the nail. Very interesting. I remember the first time we met was at Mr. Discount at Maarten.
Yeah.
And your influencer, I can't remember his name.
Yoti.
Yes, Yoti, yes, exactly. He's a very, very funny guy as well. A very interesting choice of influencer. I think you guys did really well with that choice. And I remember he was making an appearance there, and you guys did the activation there. And so yesterday I was writing some notes. I remember the first time we met was Mr. Discount. So it was nice to jog my memory.
But and if I can interact with that, because that moment he was awarding the prizes for challenges that we did. We did
The soccer one?
no, so we did soccer challenge, but this was a challenge which was more create your Cheche moment, so it was more vague and broadly defined. Then we selected. So we initially wanted to select 10 winners,
Okay.
but eventually we ended up selecting 15 or 20 winners.
Oh, wow.
Because the content was so good that we received. And the funny thing is that the majority of those participants, they were micro influencers. Some very small and some slightly bigger. And together, all the interaction and engagement that we got from this group,
Yeah.
if you sum it up, it's almost the same as a macro, a large influencer.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's also about giving people a chance and benefiting from the creativity that they have.
Yeah.
I would say the hybrid strategy is the best to both play with a big influencer and also some smaller ones.
Yeah.
Because you want also somebody who is the face of the company.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure. But I guess, as I would imagine, many of the viewers would have maybe starting of the businesses or smaller businesses.
Yeah.
And I would like to remind them that there is a lot of benefit in also starting with, because sometimes as a small company, you really aim for the day you can hire diamond platinums or the likes. And I guess maybe that's a good goal for some businesses. But I guess micro influencers sometimes do a more intimate, more organic job compared to big influencers.
Well, very true.
Yeah. Even the fact that you ran the campaign where people create these videos. Yeah. I feel like that really helped you guys become a brand of the people. It wasn't some organic, no, not organic, but like some scripted, professionally curated, you know, in a big studio video. It was people making the videos. Even the soccer one, I think that did really well.
Yeah.
I think maybe you could give us some comparison on how soccer did and how the other campaign did.
Yeah, so the soccer one was the Soccer Buys.
Yeah.
One was the second interactive campaign that we did.
Yeah.
We put a sticker with a QR code on every single pack.
Yeah.
And that's also, of course, boosted their interaction and the engagement of the audience.
Yeah.
We received so many good videos, people showing their favorite football moment.
Yeah.
And it was not about football tricks only. It was also about showing your favorite football moment. It can be in a stadium watching Simba Yanga or any other game. It also can be watching football on the street. It was or in your living room. And I think people were showing a lot of creativity, and even there, of course, the results were better. I think also football in Tanzania is pretty special and pretty big.
100%. Yeah, it's obviously there's the obvious rivalry. I don't know if you can mention team names, but there's one obvious one.
Yeah.
And I think people follow it like a religion. So
which is a great thing.
Yeah. I think people love it, and I think it's a great thing as a country that we have. How did the Fanta campaign happen? That was huge, at least from my perspective.
Oh yeah, so that was a collaboration that we did, let's say half a year ago, 5 months ago. And for us, it's a dream. It was a dream collaboration, and it was too good to be true, because Coca-Cola is the owner of Fanta, of course, and that's the biggest beverage company in the world. And the international strategy of Fanta is to collaborate with local snacks brands.
Yeah.
So they picked us, and it was a great honor. They also scared us off a bit, because the year before they collaborated with another brand, and that brand stocked out quite soon. So we were well prepared, and we stocked up fully in the warehouse. And we also did the campaign quite big. So we started in 62 supermarkets in Dar es Salaam. And the bundle deal, so it was a bundle deal of Fanta and Cheche being sold for a discount. It was really appealing to the consumers, because it's also a nice combination if you eat something salty and you have something sweet for the thirst.
Yeah.
And I think that's, for us, it was too good to be true. We benefit from collaborating with a very big partner.
Yeah.
And I hope also for them, and I of course know the results, which I cannot share, but I know also that for them it's also really interesting to partner up with a local snacks brand.
Yeah.
Because they position their drinks, Fanta drinks, really as a snacks drink.
Yeah.
And seeing the name of Cheche together with the name or the logo of Fanta, it was surreal in the beginning.
Yeah.
And also we could see, of course, in the engagements online on the social media platforms.
Yeah, sure.
That's it really, I think we addressed a bigger share of the market there.
Wow.
Yeah.
You put your products like do you think it's become like the snack of choice for a lot of people now?
I don't know. Maybe it's cashews.
Or cashew chocolate crushes.
Yeah.
I think I can see a good collaboration there.
Yeah.
With chocolate crushes and Cheche Crisps.
Yeah.
Definitely. Should we just sign it right now?
Yeah, sure.
No, I guess I can imagine these kind of collaborations do a huge.
Yeah.
It becomes a big deal, and has I guess a lot of benefits to the brand. I just want to, because I've noticed like a trend, at least from my research in what you're talking about. I feel like a lot of decisions you made, I'm quite confident, are very data driven. The fact that you did this collaboration with Fanta. So I just want to take it back slightly and ask, how do you make a decision? Example, let's get into the crisps market. I know you mentioned the potato is their focus. Yeah, how do you translate that into let's start a brand in the crisps market?
Potatoes is a proud heritage of the country that I come from.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of potato knowledge also in the country.
Yeah.
I would say the climate is actually better in Tanzania. So we have 2 potato seasons, and quality is better than, I don't want to make people angry, of course, but the climate is amazing. And of course, to combine that knowledge with the climate, and of course with the motivation of local farmers, then you have a really great end product.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been difficult in a different climate, talking about data, if you picked other countries. And of course, that was also one of the main reasons to pick Tanzania.
Yeah.
And regarding data, it's indeed very true that we take a lot of decisions based on data. So I would say there's 2 types. So you have, of course, open data. You can investigate with data sets quite a lot from outside. But the risk there is that you keep on analyzing and you don't take any action. True. The kind of data that I'm really fan of is starting something really small. Start at restaurant together with your wife in the kitchen, and learning what happens when you do something like that.
Yeah.
So starting very small initiatives, measuring whatever you can measure, and then taking a decision based on that.
Yeah.
You can do this, for example, in online marketing, where you have micro data. Sometimes it's also a bit too abstract, but also, for example, sending out a sales truck and picking some dukas.
Yeah.
And then monitoring the movement of the Cheche products in those dukas. This is something that we can learn from. And this is also where we base our price pack strategy on, and also our new flavors. So this is, this is basically the thing that we keep on doing. I cannot say that we're finished. We have a lot of challenges, and we keep on resolving those challenges.
Yeah.
We're now launching or we have launched an experiment in Arusha, also monitoring the data really closely.
Yeah.
To understand what the different price will do with the demand.
Yeah.
And everything is collected. All the data is collected in a sales app. So every sales representative has an app. So we have pictures, we have GPS data, and we know the volumes that go through every shop.
Yeah.
And I would say if you monitor the data over a period of time, you learn whether it's a good decision or a bad one.
Yeah.
If it is a bad decision, okay, we stop it. If it is a good one, okay, let's double down on it.
Yeah. Would I be correct in saying that's probably how you guys decided on the new flavors? Because I love the new flavors, like I told you.
Yeah, thanks.
And I'm really glad you introduced the Filipi Tamu. I just love it. And if anyone hasn't tried them yet,
Yeah.
please do. Anyone hasn't either tried or at least heard of the name Cheche. But would there be like similar mindset or strategy in how you introduced the new flavors?
Yeah, so of course for the flavors it was you can predict a bit which flavors are really can be really popular.
True.
But also you can say very clearly that potato crisps in India or in China or in Brazil or in Europe, they can be totally different in terms of flavors. Of course, the potatoes, they are the same. Often it's salty, but then there's a flavor to it.
True.
We organized sampling sessions. We learned, so we did it in Kariako, but we also did it in Midimani City, which is, of course, a different kind of environment.
Oh, wow. For the new flavors?
Yeah, for the new flavors. And we noted all the feedback of every single person that came to taste. And we did that, pretty well, maybe too well in terms of data. So there was a lot of data. Sometimes it was also conflicting.
Wow.
Unfortunately, my favorite flavor was not selected. But that can also show that. So my favorite flavor is salt and vinegar.
Okay.
But it ended up at the bottom of the list.
No way.
So you can also see that people in Tanzania, they have a very specific flavor pattern that might be completely different than another country.
Yeah.
And I think if we would go on gut feeling just by selecting salt and vinegar, for example, then we would have made a mistake because then we would have big stocks in the warehouse and not being able to sell. And now we have, the flavors that the local people in various places chose.
Wow.
And I think that's saves us a lot of headache.
Yeah. And it's such an important lesson for founders on how sometimes it's not the best idea to follow your intuition without any data. So a director might have thought, okay, salt and vinegar will do really well, but the data showed otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's really important to know what your customers want.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
It can save time if you just take a decision very quickly.
Yeah.
But it can also cost you a lot of time if you make a wrong decision and then you need to repair it or revert it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Even especially the size you guys operated, if you introduced a new flavor, I'm sure there's a lot of costs involved pre-launch. There's the packaging, there's the making of the products and all that. And so yeah, obviously it will become in some cases it could become a huge disaster if you don't ask people what they want. So yeah, a very important lesson. I believe we've had similar instances. I mean, we've had the luxury. I say luxury now because the journey has become a bit better for as founders. But initially it was the founder's intuition or the founder's choice, and okay, we said, I like this flavor, I think people will like the flavor. And as we've grown, we need to find out what the people we are targeting like, and that's why how we move from the butters to the bars to now the chocolate cashews, the chocolate corosho. It's because we're trying to now distribute to the mass market. And we tested that. We had a similar experience like yours. And we realized even in terms of packaging, for example, sometimes especially the founder is a creative type that want to complicate the packaging. They're a very creative one.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like you guys, you're stuck to, at least your brand colors, I believe, are green, yellow, red. And some would say, oh, these are common colors, boring colors, but I think you guys have, it really use the colors to your advantage. And it's I guess number one, creative, and also a big lesson. for startups and smaller businesses. We've talked about how you guys decided Tanzania. We've talked about how you introduced the product in terms of marketing. Would you be able to walk us through slightly how you've spread the word about Cheche? How was the experience of now physically taking the products to market? I remember in the early days, if I'm not mistaken, because I've been following your journey for a long time.
Yeah.
And
No.
yeah, and no, it's really been an inspiration for me, especially as the owner of Rosho. Uh, but I remember there was one phase where you guys were delivering boxes to individuals as well, like me as a consumer, if I wanted a box. So maybe walk us through a bit of that journey. How easy or how hard was it to enter the distribution channel?
Yeah.
in Tanzania.
So we chose to do our own distribution. We started off with a vehicle fleet ourselves, and a lot of companies or people would say that we're crazy because it also involves a lot of costs, and that's also it can be distracting from the key or the core activity that you do.
Yeah.
So I would say the benefits of it is that we have absolute control. We have the data, like I told you with the sales app.
Yeah.
We learn a lot from it. But it started off literally with 6 trucks, all loaded with fresh potato crisps. We divided the city into different territories, and then off they went. Of course, we did a mapping of outlets, shops, dukas, mini markets, petrol stations beforehand. So every sales rep had some time. But eventually, we just started off. One day we launched, and then it was just selling.
Wow.
So I would say that in the beginning, nobody knew. And the collars helped us a lot because those are also Tanzanian collars. But then the second step was also that if you sell to a shop, for example, Duka, you need to make sure that the product is then being sold again to a consumer.
Yes.
It's not only about selling, and you know that for Russia, it's even as important.
Yeah. So the resale, you're making sure that there's resellers. Yeah.
Reselling from the retailer, from the outlets towards the consumers.
Yeah.
So that's not going automatically.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we sold and he kept the boxes closed, and then we came back 1 week later, and the products were still in the box and wasn't sealed. So, and then of course we started to think about, okay, how can we make the product more visible? So we distributed shelves. I'm not sure if you've seen them in the market.
Yes.
In the supermarket, in majority of the supermarkets we have a gondola.
Yep.
And now we're also testing a new shelf solution for Dukas, slightly more affordable, but also really visible to make the products basically like all the beverage companies.
Yeah.
They have the fridge, of course, or their companies, but it's also their display.
So more visible. Yeah. Increase the visibility. Yeah.
And since we do that, it really helped us a lot to sell again towards the consumer. Yeah, that's why also we did the marketing activities.
Wow.
And of course, in the beginning, it's a little bit of a challenge. We had some expired products. Of course, we always say if it is expired, if you're not able to sell, we guarantee that we replace it for a box.
Wow.
Or some new few bags. In the beginning, we had this.
Yeah.
We were also thinking, okay, is that not a wrong guarantee that we're giving? But now you can see it's actually rarely happening.
Yeah.
Very nihil.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be the case that, for example, a mini market has in their stock an old box and they forgot about it.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah, that happened a lot now.
We also train our sales reps that they really don't overstock, and then they really help to sell the products again from the retailer towards the consumer.
Oh.
And I think since we are doing this and we are focusing on the shelf solutions, I believe you also have shelf solutions, right?
Yeah.
I saw them.
Yeah, the gondolas. Yeah, we have a few. We have them in shoppers and the likes.
Exactly. So it is an investment. It's not for free.
100%. 100%.
But it pays off.
Yeah, it pays off. It's really helped. Yeah, increase the visibility for a brand, because naturally, you see, you go to a super, there is multiple options, and then you have your 2 pieces there.
Yeah.
It's really hard unless somebody's really looking for the product. So the gondola is definitely a big investment, and it pays off. Interesting, man.
I remember really well when we sold for the first time and were really euphoric, sold into shops, and then I came into some mini markets and supermarkets, and then it took me a lot of effort to even find a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Because there are so many other snacks brands.
Yeah.
Some potato chips or crisps or sometimes different kind of extruded snacks.
Yeah.
And that scared me a lot in the beginning. Because if you cannot find your own product, how can other people find it, right? So that's why we have the wobblers hanging out of the shelf, gondolas, like you also explained, and then the Duca solutions. And I think by doing this very actively, the retailers, the Duca owners, they also appreciate it. Yeah. Because they can also see it's an investment in their store. And if they sell more, they also make more margin.
For sure.
And they are happy with your brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we learned in the very beginning.
Yeah. I often tell brands, selling your products for the first time to a shop is very easy.
Yeah.
You could tell them, oh, put it there, and you can pay me on consignment base. Getting the products into shops is really easy.
Yeah.
Getting them out of the shops to consumers is the hard is a challenge, for sure. Yeah, I can imagine the first time when you guys guaranteed any expired products to be exchanged. I'm sure you guys were quite. Was it a nerve-wracking decision, or was it like?
Yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking, and because when you see full unopened boxes coming back,
Yeah,
you think, what's going on?
what's going on now?
Why has the retailer not done his job?
Yeah,
But then you can also see that the retailer has so many products,
yeah,
and they don't prioritize your brand over another.
yeah,
It's about how you support them.
yeah,
And I think there's many companies that do that really well. Of course, you have also the legendary companies that don't need it and then go happily.
yeah. True.
And then you have the new companies, and you need to fight. You need to fight to get it
To get space, yeah.
to do it. You cannot expect a retailer to do this for you. And we were happy to see the number of market returns going down, the expiries,
Nice.
and that also, helps to pay back the investments that you make into shelf solutions. They are also not cheap.
Yeah, I can imagine. And did that change the conversations with your Me2Me customers? So initially they were returning goods. Initially, I know how it goes. The first time you're taking a product to them, to a new supermarket, a new product, they're always a bit hesitant. And then if they see it's doing well, and did the conversations, especially with wholesalers who now probably want exclusivity, and I'm sure all over that happens. They'll tell you, oh, I want this area now, I'll buy a lot more. Has that happened after the returns have gotten less?
Yeah, of course, the distributors, they are very interested. But our strategy is really to deliver it ourselves. So we have decided we still sell in Carriacou,
Yeah.
but mainly in Carriacou, they distribute it outside of Dar es Salaam.
Yeah.
So Arusha and Dar, we do ourselves. But
okay. So the other places, up country, okay.
we do opportunistically.
Yeah.
If a school is a fan and they really want to have it, of course, we can send it.
Yeah.
It's a bit costly. All the distributors are helping us outside of the city.
Yeah. I was personally interested in asking you that because at Rosho, that's what we are sort of now deciding. Should we maintain our own distribution? Should we start working with wholesalers? Because it is costly to have now your own trucks, your own cars going around, and how far can they really go?
Yeah.
If you're talking about Mbeya and Songea and all these other places, it doesn't make sense. We have a good customer base in Zanzibar, and even with Zanzibar, which is not too far, obviously the whole ferry and boat travel, but even there we have an agent. So we recently with talking to the team and deciding, okay, should we get our own cars? And besides the cost, what would you advise me for somebody like us?
Yeah, so I'm really a fan of distributing ourselves because you can really motivate your team. You have control about your own team. We incentivize per kg. So I would say for Russia, that would be also very possible. Basically, if it is on consignment, what is not paid is not sold. So it's not just about selling on credit and then getting them return at a later stage, but it's really about when it's sold in a shop, it really accounts. And I think if you have control of your own team, you can also capture the data. I have plenty of sales apps that I would highly recommend, and they have great support.
Yeah.
And then in the way, it might be costly to serve, but I'm pretty sure you will see very, very quickly that those places that you serve yourself,
Yeah.
you can do a great business.
Yeah, because you get immediate feedback and you also understand what the customers want, the consumers want.
They appreciate it.
Yeah. How do you gather consumer feedback? Is that something you guys try to do?
Yeah, we do it frequently. So we have some surveys, and then we have our marketing team coordinate with some, for example, students that's then for us on a weekly or monthly basis.
Yeah.
And they go into the city and they collect the feedback.
Oh, wow.
And we rather collect too much data to learn from it rather than and maybe to underpinning what we already know.
Yeah.
Instead of just assuming that we're on the right track and we don't look around anymore.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I read on LinkedIn, it's an old post from 2024, that you guys are already in more than 2,000 shops. Has that grown, or is that like the max you can hit in Tanzania?
Yeah. No, that is interesting because in beginning I would say made the pitfall to sell to too many shops. Shops.
You say what? Sorry,
We made the pitfall.
Okay.
The mistake to sell to too many shops.
Okay.
Some shops, they moved very easily the product and they would reorder every week. They're loyal customers.
Okay.
And some other shops, they had more issues to move it because they also were not very clear how to sell it. So for example, we have always discussions about the recommended retail price.
Okay.
As a Duca, it might be really attractive to increase the price because you make more cash margin, but we have deliberately chosen quite affordable prices.
Yeah.
If Ducas maintain them, you can see it moves.
Wow.
The rotation is pretty high.
How do you incentivize Ducas to not increase the price? Because that's something we are struggling with.
Yeah, so that's we cannot incentivize them in an additional way, but we really try to educate. Mini markets, they usually are quite keen on doing this. The big supermarkets, they want to even set it lower than a Duca price, so they really understand to get a little volume. Yeah, big volume, the lower margin, but then eventually you end up earning more.
Yeah.
And I think the discussion that we now have, we train our sales reps 2 times per week. We do like storytelling and pressure cooker kind of training, just 15 minutes in the Monday and the Thursday morning. And then this discussion really they apply also in the field.
Wow.
When they are at the Duca. And you can see that some Ducas really understand it.
Yeah.
Some they understand it less. To get back to the number, in the beginning, I would say maybe we sold even to 3,000 shops. Then we really selected, okay, if we sell to a shop, we visit every week. In Arusha, we're now selecting shops. We visit 3 times per week.
Yeah.
To restock and to help them to sell and to move the product.
Yeah.
That's maybe too much.
Yeah.
I would say the golden number is to visit 2 times per week every now. So then you cannot have too many shops. Shops you have, they need to be of great quality.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to grow that 2,000 number. And I think we are now in 400 mini markets and around 80 supermarkets. And I rather grow the number of Ducas slowly because this is where the growth is, right?
Yeah. That's what the volume is. Yeah.
That's where the volume is.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe also to ask you the question how it is for Russia, you distribute yourself and also via distributors.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
So we've taken on the role of making sure consumers see the product and taste the product. We've taken that role very seriously. So regardless of, so there are some areas, for example, Arusha on the northern side, we prefer working with a distributor, Zanzibar, because we understand, obviously, with the resources, the limited resource we have, currently it makes sense to work with wholesalers, distributors, but we also do our own distribution. Yeah. I would say 80%, 75, 80% is our own distribution. And we only work with distributors or wholesalers. And they do work in tandem. So for example, a wholesaler is supplying to a certain market and we are doing that as well. We are okay with that. But exclusivity only happens if it's a region that's far off, that we don't have the resources. And also we also believe in partnership. So there are some wholesalers, some distributors, we see benefits in working with them, even though we could have our own set up our own distribution. But like you said, I think the role of making sure it's moving from the shop to consumers is something that we are trying to work really hard on.
Yeah.
And one of the ways we do it is activations. So I know you guys are you. Yeah. And I remember tasting in the early days. It was in Bezi Shoppers. I remember you had some ladies there who were doing the tastings.
Yeah.
And it's strange. Yeah. Sometimes you might feel like I've been supplying to this supermarket for 2 years or 3 years. I think I've covered all their customers. And you'll still go on a weekend, you'll do the activation, and 90% of the people who will try the product will have never heard or tasted your product before. So
Crazy.
yeah, so I think activation is something I really believe in. The free tastings, it's also it's not very scalable um, compared to, example, outdoor marketing or social media. But I think that's one place where you get immediate feedback. Yeah, exactly. So right there, the person's tasting it. Immediately, they'll tell you about the price. They'll tell you about the taste. And yeah, we have so mostly it's ladies who do the activation. They have a form they fill. They have to like sort of report the kind of um, feedback they got, how much sales they managed to do because of that. We sort of have a hybrid model as well.
Yeah, that's probably also the best because you cannot go in every
Yeah.
outlying place free.
Mm.
And because of this, you can also focus
Yeah.
on the areas that
On making up better products, I guess, and that's I guess we also like sort of narrowed down the decision to say, okay, look, we have limited resources. Let's use those resources in increasing brand visibility, making good products, instead of putting that resource in distribution, whereas you could part with some margin and give it to somebody else. And but again, I think it's different scales. I think the scale you guys work it, I see a lot of logic and a lot of benefit in handling your own distribution.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it past the fact that we would also someday handle our entire distribution. I've seen brands who not only in Arusha, not just like cities, but even up country, even in regions, they have their own cars going up to the regions.
it
And
will give you a lot of headache,
yeah,
but eventually it will also give you more control.
100%. Yeah,
And it's a trade-off.
yeah. I think besides, I don't think the brand owners or the business owners who are doing their own distribution, I don't think it's only because of the slightly more margin they'll make. I think it is they rather be in touch with the customer themselves than through a third party, who again depends on the right partner. But the effort you would put in for a consumer to buy Cheche Crisps will not be anywhere close to like a third party. Yeah, for him it's just a box, 8%, sell it off.
Yeah.
But for you it really matters who's tasting it, why he's buying it. You're making sure it's an explosive experience for them as well.
But I fully agree with that. So in our team, in beginning, we were also learning. And the moment where we said, okay, this is the bonus that you make for every box of crisps that you sell,
Yeah.
the volumes went up drastically because it's a direct feedback and there's no cap. So if you sell, there's no cap. Of course, you set the target in a month,
Yeah.
so the threshold becomes higher. But then you really motivate the people. Of course, this is money driven.
Yeah.
But then also we have the session every sales stand up at 7:30 in the morning. And if you come earlier, I pay for your chai and chapati.
No.
So that you can also have a laugh. They can have a chai, they can have chapati.
Wow.
If they're too late, no.
No chai, no chapati.
Yeah, no chai, no chapati. You can just working. But I think that's something that you can do with your own team.
Yeah.
You create the sort. There's of course rules, but it's also shaping this environment.
Yeah.
And of course we have now, for example, distributors upcountry, Wanza or Dodoma or Mbe. But then I don't even know who is in the team.
Yeah.
And I also don't even know if they really understand the benefits or the USPs of Cheche.
Yeah.
They are doing a great job, but I think there's just a different approach. And I think that's also why you choose to do 85% yourself.
Yeah. So I've personally struggled with our team as well. We've struggled with setting targets, especially if it's incentivized by targets and then commissions or bonuses. Because a few times we have set targets and reward it with bonuses. And then as soon as you do that, you realize, oh, the target wasn't too far off.
Yeah.
So did you just give away a lot of bonus for no reason? And we've always been in the, okay, what's the right target? What's a realistic target?
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the appropriate incentive?
You don't want to set a too high target to demotivate the team.
Or over incentivize something would then be misused because sometimes you can limit the growth. Sometimes the guy is happy with the incentive or the bonus is getting from this number. Why should he try harder?
So it's a never-ending topic, I would say. I'm very sure that we can share some knowledge there.
Yeah.
And for us, it really helps to set a minimum threshold. So for us, of course, you see the monthly sales for every sales representative. And if you set a minimal threshold, then above that, the number of kgs or boxes times the bonus is applying. So your bonus is actually growing. You're growing your own network. You're growing your own business.
Yeah.
But if you are below your threshold, so let's say you settle for a specific amount, which is very human.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you're not meeting the company goals and you don't get the bonus. So there should be growth and you're incentivized very, very well.
Yeah.
But if there's no growth, of course, then the incentive apply.
Yeah.
Of course, if you keep the same volume, there's also an incentive.
Yeah.
But mainly we are growing now. And this is also the reason why we've been growing 10 to 15% every month.
Wow.
And so it's amazing growth. Sometimes it's 40, but
average 50. Wow. That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, was really impressive. Maybe you can share with us a bit about what's coming next from Cheche.
So, okay, we will not launch new flavors anytime soon. I can say, because we have now 6 flavors, 3 pack sizes, so it's some work to manage. But I can say it's a lot of more visibility and availability coming. So we are now really scaling up, making sure that the product is visible, available, and affordable in every single shop around the corner. And I still have, like you also say, it's like 50-50, or maybe it's still even 50 or 40, 60%. That if you speak with somebody who is a fan and have eating a bag of crisps every week, but sometimes you still have a person who never saw it.
Yeah.
And they also go to the supermarket, or they also go to the fuel stations or mini markets. And that I'm really surprised, and that also motivates me to make it more visible, work on any shelf solutions to make it in your face.
Yeah.
And of course, affordable. So I think that's the main element coming back.
Yeah.
The reason for this is, of course, we want to grow, but it's also we want to make it as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
So we don't want to expand to too many shops at the same time. If you now look at the expiry date of this bag, it's within a few weeks. Let's say it's produced 2 weeks ago. If you produce that with any imported products,
You can't
it's already 2 months or 4 months old. And I think that's our advantage. Fresh products, and the more movement there is, the fresher it is. And I think, or at least I hope, that consumers are tasting this.
And it's also priced well. I think, I believe there's 500 shillings, the smaller pack. There's 700 shillings for 32 grams.
Yeah.
And then there's a bigger.
Yeah, the bigger one is 2,400 shillings. In some supermarkets, they even set it for lower price than that, because they understand the game about volume and margin really well.
Yeah. But the 500 grams for fresh crisps, at that price, I think it's a really good option for consumers.
It's a tangible amount. It's really easy.
Yeah.
And also, I think the Happy Christmas campaign, that's the next campaign that we're launching. And we really want to incentivize Dukas to feel proud, to sell more, and then to feel proud if they reach it, by giving away prizes. So if you are able to sell a number of boxes in a month, we do something fun. And I think that's to make it a little bit like a game. Now we've been really focusing on, for example, soccer bites and the other challenge about incentivizing consumers.
Yeah.
And now we also want to put the ball more at the Duka owner.
Cool.
To see how we can incentivize them. If you have them as a brand ambassador, they have an extra sales representative.
Done. Yeah. You've done your job then. Yeah, 100%.
That's a powerful strategy.
Yeah. You mentioned fun a few times. in the conversation, and I guess that allows me to. It's a nice segue into the last part of this discussion. Um, you mentioned fun a few times. Is that a brand element? Is it important for the company or the brand to be a fun brand? Is that a decision you to keep it that way?
Yeah,
And why?
I think having a good laugh. So, okay, let's say this morning we had a meeting and there's targets. And of course, there's also tension because everybody wants to meet the target. But a good joke and having a laugh with the full team, it connects everybody.
Yeah.
Young, old, no matter the rank in the company or the role that they have. And I think that's what I really like about working here. That people like to have fun.
Yeah.
And also, I think as a brand, it's not that we're selling the most boring product. Some products are really important.
Yeah.
And you might wash your clothes with it, for example. But it's very essential. But it's not a fun brand, right? And I think we are lucky that we're selling actually a brand which is fun. You don't eat it, I think, when you're not having fun. You either watch a movie, or you watch football.
Good time with your friends, family. Yeah.
You have friends, family, or with your wife.
Yeah.
So I think that's, if we can contribute a little bit to the fun there,
Yeah.
I think then we're doing a great job.
You guys definitely contribute to the good times I have with my son. He is a big fan. The salted one, so he's not like his father clearly, but he likes the salted ones a lot. They're not really good to hear. I know I mentioned we are coming to the end, but because you mentioned team, I have something that I really wanted to understand, especially as our company is growing. If I'm not mistaken, you guys are a company of 115 employees.
Yeah.
These are people who directly work for Cheche and Moyanga Premium Foods. How's your experience been with hiring and human resource?
I come from the Netherlands where there's a scarcity of talent in the market because there's too many jobs.
Yeah.
I think that's a ridiculous situation that employees have options. And if they don't like the job, they move after a few months.
Yeah.
I think what is really special here is that, yes, people are willing to move quite quickly. If they don't like the job, they can move. And I think that nobody's lying about that. But I was really surprised by, if you put a vacancy, that the number of talented people that are applying for it.
Yeah.
Also in the beginning, where we didn't have any awareness of the brand yet, people were applying and they had very good CVs.
Yeah.
And I think that helped us a lot. And of course, some people left. So they're sometimes not a match. But eventually, we have still some people that started at the very beginning and they're still here.
Yeah.
And I would say there's not too many challenges so far, I would say. Of course, there's always complicated individuals. But in general, the hiring and the recruitment, it's maybe we're lucky or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that didn't go.
Yeah. I think the number of talented people in Tanzania is really impressive. Like almost everyone is getting educated. The next problem is getting a job. So yes, that is also the problem. Opportunities is really an issue. So the last part of my of the episode is what you would like to suggest, or what's your advice? I know we hinted to it a bit and we spoke about it earlier, but with your experience in the last 3 years,
Yeah.
you have with the scale you guys have grown it. I'm sure you have experienced and seen a lot of what Tanzania has to offer in the market. So, what would you advise me to startups, to new business owners? But before that, an even more important question is, as a professional paddle tennis player, what is your advice for beginner paddle tennis players?
As a little beginner, I'm sure it's a very nice game.
Yeah.
Um, so what I can advise is really don't be seduced to try everything at the same time.
This is for paddle or this is for business? Because if you run prior to ball, well, you should run at the ball. If you try to smash every ball,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's also with smashing. If you hit too eager, it hits the window or the net. No, I think for for businesses, I would really say you have many ideas, but if you want to implement them all at the same time, then none of them will deliver you any growth.
Yeah.
I think when you focus on a few good ones, starting small, don't try to boil the ocean. I think we did try to boil the ocean with the billboards that we had on the streets. If you compare it with the big beverage brands, they have maybe 1,000 more billboards than we have. But really try to make it small. So for example, instead of a billboard, try to do something within one shop and make that shop a success.
Wow.
So if you can make that shop a success, and maybe it costs you some effort to go there, and maybe then you scale it up to 5 shops and then 10 shops. And I think that is really powerful and so far led to the best decisions for us.
Yeah.
And the decision that we made on intuition, trying to boil the ocean top down,
Yeah.
were usually the worst decisions.
Yeah.
So try small.
Yeah. Amazing. It's almost it's like I've heard this 80-20 rule. Yeah. Put 80% of your work on the 20% of your market, theoretically, and you'll get more results. Instead of trying to put 20% on the 8x, is the rule. Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I've personally learned a lot today. Thank you, Maarten, for sharing your story and hosting. Yeah, Karibu Sana once again. Maybe next time Peter can join us as well.
Yeah, and more sure you can tell a lot about what's behind the potatoes and how they're produced, because he's really good at it.
Okay. Yeah, so I look forward to that. And yeah, once again, Maarten, asante sana. It was a pleasure, and I'm sure the viewers will also appreciate a lot your story, and I'm sure they'll be inspired to do more with their business.
Thank you very much.
Asante.
And thanks also to the team.
Asante.